His parents drop a bombshell.
They both came out of the closet.
And the haters start hating.
These signs said things like, "Jesus has no room for you." I knew that I never wanted the name Christian to be associated with me.
See what changed his mind about Christianity.
Funny enough, I ended up following Jesus.
On today's 700 Club Interactive. Good morning and welcome to the show. The LGBT lifestyle has remained a hot-button issue, especially within the church. Some Christians are very vocal when it comes to their opinions on homosexuality, and some just sit back in silence not knowing what to say.
Pastor Caleb Kaltenbach has something to say on the subject, and he's earned the right to be heard. Caleb grew up in the LGBT community. That's because after his parents divorced, both came out as gay.
When I was 2, my parents divorced. Then they both came out of the closet. I spent most weeks with my dad, and he was very quiet about his sexuality. I spent weekends and breaks with my mom, and she was not quiet about her sexuality. As a kid, I even marched in gay pride parades. I remember at the end of one of these parades, there were some Christians who were holding up signs on street corners. These signs said things like, "Jesus has no room for you." If that wasn't offensive enough, they were spraying water and urine on everyone. I remember looking at my mom and being confused as a young kid. I asked her, "Mom, why are they acting like this?" And she said, "Well, Caleb, they're Christians. And Christians hate gay people." Growing up, I saw how some Christians treated people in the LGBT community. I watched as people who had AIDS were shunned by their family. I listened as radio preachers spewed homophobia and hate towards the gay community, and I knew that I never wanted the name Christian to be associated with me.
Well, Caleb has a very unique story. Caleb Kaltenbach is with us now. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. What was it like for you to be raised in the community, LGBT community?
You know, it was definitely a very interesting experience. It was a very fun community, at least the people that my mom spent time with. But it was also a very passionate community. My mom joined the board of directors for GLAAD in the local Kansas City area, she and her partner. And as a young elementary age student, they took me with them to gay bars and parties and pride parades and campouts and events. And as many people have heard, I marched in these parades, and I even remember people spraying urine on people and holding up signs. And I remember walking into a hospital room one time and watching one of my friends die from AIDS, who was an older man, one of my mom's friends, and seeing his Christian family shun him and not talk to us or them. And really, my mother just drilled in my head, hey, if you're a Christian, you don't like people who are different from you. And so for me, I grew up, I couldn't stand Christians.
So how did you, this kid who didn't like Christians because you felt they didn't like the gay community, how did you find Christ in your life?
Well, I got invited when I was in high school, about 16 years old, to this Bible study led by a high schooler for high schoolers. And so I thought I'd be a ninja Christian. I'd pretend to be a Christian, and really I'd learn about Christianity and dismantle their faith. And so I went, and I remember I grabbed this old Bible off the shelf because I'd never owned one, and I walked into the house, and I'd never been in a Christian house before. And the first thing I noticed was, why do these people have pictures of sheep and lions and Bible verses all over their hallway? And I looked at my friend, I said, is that part of the deal? When I turn Christian, do I have to get a sheep picture or something like that? And I went down to this Bible study, and they were all reading out of 1 Corinthians, and I was in 1 Chronicles. And I learned real quick there was an Old and a New Testament, but I learned that actually the Jesus of the Gospels, he was not like the people on the street corners or the people in the hospital alienating their kids. The Jesus was different. He started to convict my worldview, and I didn't end up changing anybody else's. That Jesus had very deep theological convictions, but he also had very deep relationships with people who are not like him, people who are far from God.
So you become a Christ follower, and then you have this time where you need to tell your parents about the change in your life. How did that go?
Over like a lead balloon. That's how it went. I remember, here's the best way to describe it. If you can imagine how a same-sex attracted or gay teenager feels when they come out to their Christian parents, I was a 16-year-old Christian teenager coming out to my 3 gay parents, and they disowned me. The same treatment that some people say that they get from their Christian parents, I got from my LGBT parents. because they feared this extremism and they cast that fear right back onto me. That's how they reacted.
Your book's really interesting because you break down a lot of the reasons why the gay community and the Christian community seem to butt heads and the fears involved for both. So for someone who's a Christian, and if someone comes out to them and expresses, hey, I'm a homosexual, give some perspective on a good way for that Christ follower to respond.
I would say a few things. Number one, don't look disappointed. I know that we can't always control our reactions, but it's a very personal moment. It's a moment where even though we do not agree with the choice to be in a same-sex relationship, or we may not understand what they mean when they say that they're same-sex attracted, they still care enough about us to tell us, to let us into that personal part of their life. So we need to honor that and not look disappointed. Don't get mad. Don't try to get them counseling. Everybody needs counseling, but that's not the time. It's not the time to throw out Bible verses, because I'm willing to bet that the person telling you knows you well enough to know what you think the Bible says about it. And the last thing I would say is don't compare sins. Don't compare them to a murderer or a thief. Don't say, well, that's like any other sin, because in their mind, you're comparing them to Hannibal Lecter and Gordon Gekko, and they don't see that same comparison.
So in this very vulnerable moment, okay, some Christians may respond and say, well, you need to just stop being gay. What is a homosexual really hearing in that statement?
Somebody who hears a Christian say something like that, the person who is same-sex attracted or identifies as LGBT community, they see it as an identity. So what they hear the Christians say is, give up who you are. Because a lot of the times in Christianity, we think that somebody identifies as LGBT because of who they want to be sexually intimate with. But I remember my mother and her partner, my mom told me one time that they didn't have sexual intimacy the last several years of their relationship. And I asked my mom, I said, so you weren't a lesbian anymore? And she said, well, sure I was. Those are my people, my community, my relationships. That's, you know, the movement and the cause I'm involved in. And it really dawned on me that for her, it wasn't about the sexual intimacy, it was about belonging. It was about a safe place, it was about relationships. And so I think we need to understand that, yes, we do need to have difficult conversations about sexual intimacy and other standards of holy living, but that's not where we start, because we don't want to reduce somebody down to their sexual orientation if we're telling people not to define themselves by their sexual orientation.
And so for Christians who want to be supportive, perhaps, or loving, how do they navigate the fact that at the same time they may not want to be an advocate for this lifestyle?
We need to understand that there's a big difference between acceptance and approval. That we should accept everybody no matter what, and that means you love them where they're at in their life. That doesn't mean we approve of every life choice. Every weekend I shake hands with people in my church. I'm sure I don't approve of every life choice, but you know what? My acceptance for them is based on my love for God, and I love them where they're at.
Tell us about the interesting change that occurred in your parents' life.
So my mother's partner died after 22 years, and she died without Christ. My mom went through a deep depression because they've been together 22 years, right? And so my family and I moved to Dallas, Texas for 3.5 years after pastoring in Southern California so that I could go preach at a church. We left the summer of 2013 to go pastor Discovery Church, where I'm at now, in Simi Valley. But when we were in Dallas, both my parents, separate of one another, moved there to be closer to our family. Mm-hmm. And then they started attending my church. These people who were the card-carrying members of the ACLU, who my mom was on the board of directors for GLAD. They were both professors that argued against the rationalization of Christianity. They started attending my church, and 2 weeks before, we left to go to California, both of them submitted their lives to Christ. And it's incredible. I have no idea how all that goes together. It was just an incredible thing to see.
And Caleb, why is your book called Messy Grace? Interesting title.
It's not because God's grace is messy. Some people think that. It's because our lives are messy. We're all messy people. You and me, first two letters of messy are the letters M-E, me, right? But God's grace seems messy when it intersects our lives. And yet, just like God had compassion on Nineveh in the book of Jonah, right? Jonah told God, he said, I knew that you would be quick to compassion and mercy and grace, and I think nothing's changed. I think God looks for opportunities to be gracious.
Interesting story, Caleb, and it's a great book. I really want to encourage you to get it, because Caleb doesn't instruct or tell us how to respond to various communities, but he really gives us some wonderful perspective and things to consider we may not have before. So if you'd like to pick it up, it's called Messy Grace. It's available wherever books are sold. Caleb, thanks again for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. Terry, over to you.
Well, still ahead, true confessions about men from a lifelong feminist.
Live with them, and you can't live without them.
But I
couldn't say that. You can't say that when you're a feminist.
Find out what she was able to say and why it changed her mind for good. That's coming up next. If you see Bridget Bedard now, you'd never believe that she had a past, and a radical one at that. From men to women to drugs, Bridget tried them all, searching for something, anything. For years, she wanted answers, and she found them in the last place she expected.
There seemed to be no answer for Bridget Bedard. Even after 10 years of counseling, writing down her thoughts, she was no closer to filling the emptiness she had felt since she was a child.
The emptiness, like I don't feel anything. It's like when I was a little child, I don't feel nothing.
She grew up in Montreal, Canada, in a home where emotions and displays of affection were kept in check. At church, she saw God as uncaring and Jesus a fairy tale.
Even at that time, I knew the life of Jesus. I read books about his life. I liked him very much, but that's it.
At 11 years old, she followed the lead of her friends, drinking and using drugs. She especially liked that it opened up her inhibitions.
I discovered intensity. That's where I experienced, for the first time in my life, something that was, like so strong. I was feeling alive.
Brigitte looked for a way to define herself, apart from her parents and God. By college, she increased her drug use and began studying feminism. It told her who she was, powerful, complete, without men and the church. She thought she'd found her identity.
I was the good, I was the victim, I was a woman, and the man, the history, the church, the God were wrong. I was right.
Eventually, she started having lesbian relationships. But in order to bear the cause of feminism, she had to suppress her natural needs and desires to have a man in her life.
That's the big paradox. You hate them, but you want to be with them. You cannot live with them, and you can't live without them. I wanted to marry, have children, a house, secretly. Secretly, deep down, that's what I wanted. But I couldn't say that. You can't say that when you're a feminist. After 8 years in that lifestyle, I was very confused.
Brigitte was in and out of therapy for years, trying to make sense of the confusion in her heart and mind. She got off drugs, but joined a drug support group, hoping to find answers. At one of the sessions, a man in the group handed her a note with the name of a monastery. He suggested she might find the answers there.
Are you crazy? You think I'm gonna go to see the priests? I hate them, And he said, "What do you have to lose?"
Brigitte decided he was right.
I'm desperate. There's nothing. There's no sense of this life. There's nothing.
So she made the 2-hour drive to the monastery, and they gave her a place nearby to stay. The next day, she met with a quiet, very patient young priest.
I screamed my 30 years of resentment, of loneliness, of desperation, all my questions, my resentment against men and God.
The priest said nothing.
And he was really compassionate with me.
Their second meeting was more of the same, her railing against the church and God, him quietly listening. Then, on the third day, Brigitte came to the meeting emotionally drained, with nothing left to say. It was then that the priest spoke and told her the true story of Jesus and his sacrifice for her.
I looked at him and I said, "What? It's true? Okay, listen. It's true? Jesus is God? It's true? It's not a story?" my God, He's alive and God is Jesus. It was a revelation. I realized that I wasn't lesbian or an intellectual or a feminist or anything. I wasn't anything. All I was the daughter of God. And He loved me. He loved me so much, He died for me. For the first time in my life, I felt loved.
That day, Brigitte found her life in Jesus Christ. She now knew who she was. 4 years later, she married Hugh, and together they're raising a family.
Each day, I thank Him. I thank Him. He saved me because I was going to die. There wasn't any answers for me. So yeah, every day it's like, wow, what a life.
I think that's the way we're supposed to live it, saying, wow, God, what a life. And until we come to the place where we understand what Brigitte came to understand, He loved us enough to die for us because He didn't want to be without us. God's love for you is so unconditional. You know, the world tries to label us, and eventually we label ourselves. But I love what she said when she said, I'm not a feminist, I'm not an intellectual, I'm not any of these things that I chose to label myself by. I am a daughter of God. That's what the word says. You and I are invited to be children of God. You know, when you get an invitation to something, part of that process is saying yes. I accept the invitation. I want what you're inviting me to. God sees us in our loneliness, in our search for meaning, our search for significance, our search to understand what this is all about. The world's voice is so loud, wanting to drown out the way God speaks to us. This is what He says. He's a still, small voice in the quiet of our hearts, speaking truth. And if you'll come away from the loudness of the world, if you'll come away from the opinionation of yourself, and just strip down to, God, I'm here in front of you. Who are you? Who am I? And what am I to be to you? And what are you to be to me? You see, it's not complicated. We make it complicated. Because as was mentioned in the interview a few minutes ago, our lives are messy. We're just really messy. But God, in His amazing love and grace and patience, waits. He waits for us to come to the end of ourselves so that we can hear that still small voice that says, come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden. I will give you rest. You see, Jesus Himself said clearly, I came to set the captive free. Truth cannot be relative. Truth is truth. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I didn't come to talk to you about it. I'm it. Will you receive me? And that's the question to you today. In the midst of your messiness, in the midst of all the things that the world has told you you are, or that maybe you have labeled yourself as, will you come to Him like a baby, without any of the baggage, unclothed by all that's been laid upon you, and just say, I am a sinner and I need a Savior. And Jesus, thank you for loving me enough to die for me. You see, the amazing part about that truth is that He did that for you and for me while we were still messed up, while we were still messy. And he says, come, let me clean you up. Let me put a ring on your finger and clean garments upon you and a crown upon your head, because you are a child of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Let me tell you who you are, because I saw you before you were ever formed in your mother's womb, and I had purpose for you. Don't miss out on finding out what that purpose is. Don't let somebody else tell you who you are. Don't let the circumstances of your life define you. Get a hold of truth, and the truth is Jesus Christ. If you'd like someone to pray with you about your spiritual need today, go to your phone. There's our number. It's toll free. The person answering the phone on the other end is someone who's already prayed that prayer we just prayed together. Just say, I prayed that prayer and I'd like to know, how do I grow in my faith? It's a journey. Start it today. God loves you, and nothing can separate you from his love unless you choose not to receive it. So call today. Andrew?
Thank you so much, Terry. Well, coming up, a wonderful story. A young boy cares for an elderly woman after she injured herself getting water. We're going to see why this duo doesn't have to take that dangerous walk anymore. That's coming up after this. When you become a CBN partner, you're helping people all over the world, like this lonely boy and elderly widow in China. The two of them have a strong family bond, even though they're not related at all.
When Mama Jike's husband died, she felt like giving up. But instead, she reached out to others, like young Amu. Much of the time, his parents work out of town.
I was alone a lot, but Mama took care of me like I was her own son. She cooked and cleaned and helped with my homework. Mama has such a good heart.
Having Amu has given me meaning and purpose in my older years.
Every day, Mama Jike walked almost 3 miles on a dangerous mountain road to a ditch, where she fetched 2 little buckets of water to live on.
It wasn't even clean. Actually, it had animal feces in it. But it was the only and best water source we had.
One day, Mama Jike tried to fetch more water than normal. The ground was slick from summer rains, and she slipped.
I could barely breathe, and I thought I was going to die.
Amu found her on the ground.
I tried to get her to stand up, but she could not move, so I ran back to the village for help. I started crying, and a horrible thought crossed my mind. I might lose her forever.
Mama Jike sprained her back and was in bed for 2 months. During that time, Amu took care of her and fetched water.
Sometimes I was so tired, I wanted to quit, but then I would remember how much Mama had helped me and I would find strength. It was my chance to repay her love with my love and be selfless like she was.
But the water he brought back was still filthy. When CBN heard about the situation, we quickly set up a clean water system for Mama Jike's village. We built a cistern and laid pipes straight to everyone's homes. So today, there's fresh water right at Mama Jike's fingertips.
All we have to do is to turn the tap, and we can drink the water right away. It's so clean, and there's so much of it.
Now Mama won't ever fall down getting water again. We can spend more time together. And it is CBN who made this all happen.
You cared for me and gave me hope. I never thought there were people as kind as you. Thank you for your selfless love.
Do you ever think how fortunate we are that when we're thirsty, when our children are thirsty, we can just walk over to the tap and get a drink? And here's this precious widow and lonely boy who are taking care of each other, no help in the world, until people like you stepped in and made a difference. What a wonderful way to show the compassion and love of Jesus Christ. It is our privilege to carry out humanitarian relief work like that. And if you've partnered with CBN in the past or you do it now, we want to say thank you. Terry and I are so privileged to see these stories of how CBN partners are making such a tremendous difference around the world. And thanks to you, that precious lady and young boy have water to drink, and their lives are drastically changed. If you'd like to get on board with what we're doing here at CBN, give us a call at 888-777-1999, or you can just log on to 700clubinteractive.com. I want to leave you with these words from 1 John chapter 4, verse 11. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. And we hope this program today has given you a fresh perspective on the love of Jesus Christ and how we can express it to those in need and those that are hurting. For Terry Meeuwsen, I'm Andrew Knox, and we'll see you next time on 700 Club Interactive. Bye-bye.